because then we know you by face. Otherwise, getting that connection just by the names and just with the black screens, it's a bit tough. So turn on your cameras and turn and show your beautiful faces, masters. Thank you, Vindhyaji. Thank you, Jaswinderji. Good to see you. Hi, Sukhchinderji. Hello. And Namaste, Kimshukji.
I think live has started, Ruchi.
Okay. So, welcome, masters. Welcome to part 17th of book session Autobiography of a Yogi. And masters, let's pay our gratitude and humble reverence to the Divine Mother, to Mahavatar Babaji, Mahasya Ji, Swami Sri Yukteswar Ji, and Paramahansa Yogananda Ji. So, masters, we have now come to the most mystical and the most awaited part of the book, the intriguing saint that drew the attention of millions of people. And thanks to Paramahansa Yogananda ji for mentioning about Babaji in this book. Had this not been a part of this book, then the world would have remained oblivious to the presence of such a great avatar, which is Mahavatar Babaji. And Master Swami Sri Yukteswar ji said that knowing about the spiritual state of Mahavatar Babaji, it is beyond human comprehension. That is, we as human beings who have a limited perspective with this limited mindsets, it is not possible for us to truly understand what spiritual state does Mahavatar Babaji has. And Masters Paramhansa Yogananda ji has said that in his book, he is giving only a hint on the life of Mahavatar Babaji. Only the things for which he has got permission from Babaji to write about, only which Babaji thought it is deemed to be fit to be given publicly, only those facts have been given in this book. So it's not that we will be able to get information about the life and get to know everything about the life of Mahavatar Babaji, but only that information which Yogananda ji has got permission to write and which Babaji he thinks it is deemed fitting to be imparted publicly. So, masters, for today's session, we have got a lot of wisdom sharing. We have got a lot of learnings. So it's important that we open ourselves, we open our hearts, we open our minds, we open our consciousness to the wisdom that we would be receiving. So let's attune ourselves by listening to this beautiful cosmic chant on Mahavatar Babaji. And masters, just before that, I would like to add one thing, which is that Lahiri Mahasya ji said that anyone who utters with reverence the name of Mahavatar Babaji, that devotee, he receives an instant blessing. So what matters is just our faith, it's just our love, it's just our reverence. that how lovingly we call the names of our gurus. It's all just that matters. And if we lovingly call, we call it with everything that we have. If we call the name of Babaji with our hearts, with our soul, then we are bound to receive his blessing. So, Masters, let's take a few moments. Let's close our eyes while we listen to this chant and feel Babaji's divine presence into our hearts, into our consciousness. So please close your eyes, Masters. Om Babaji, Om, Om Babaji, Om, Om Babaji, Om, Om Babaji, Om. Om Babaji Om, 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 Om Babaji Om. Om Babaji Om, Mahavatar Babaji, Mahavatar Babaji, Mahavatar Babaji, Om Babaji Om, Om Babaji Om, Om Babaji Om, Om Babaji Om, Om Babaji Om. Mahavatar Babaji, Mahavatar Babaji, Mahavatar Babaji, Om Babaji Om, Om Babaji Om, Om Babaji Om, Om Babaji Om, Om Babaji Om. Mahavatar Babaji, Mahavatar Babaji, Mahavatar Babaji, Om Babaji Om, Om Babaji Om, Om Babaji Om, Om Babaji Om, Om Babaji Om. Mahavatar Babaji, Mahavatar Babaji, Mahavatar Babaji, Om Babaji Om. Om Babaji Om, Om Babaji Om, Om Babaji Om, Om Babaji Om. Keeping your eyes closed, Masters, for a couple of minutes. Let's feel in the vibrations that this cosmic chant has generated. Let's feel the presence of Babaji in our hearts, in our consciousness. And gently placing the palm of your hands on your eyes. Whenever you are ready, you may open your eyes. So Masters, let's start our session and let's receive the wisdom on the life of Mahavatar Babaji, which has been mentioned by Paramahansa Yogananda ji in his book Autobiography of a Yogi. The Masters, Mahavatar Babaji is known by many names like Mahamuni Babaji Maharaj, Mahayogi, Trempak Baba, Shiv Baba. As Mahavatar Babaji is also said to be an avatar of Lord Shiva. And Babaji, he has simply adopted the name Babaji, which means the revered father. So we know Babaji, Mahavatar Babaji, by a very simple and by a very loving name, which is Babaji, which means the revered father. And Masters, Mahavatar Babaji, he's an avatar. And an avatar signifies when divinity descends and takes a human form, then it is called as an avatar. So we know that there have been so many avatars in the ancient India times, like we know Lord Krishna, Lord Ram, and Buddha, Patanjali. They're all ancient Indian avatars. And we also know Maharishi Agastya is also a very famous avatar from South India, particularly Tamil Nadu. And we also know that Maharishi Agastya is also known as one of the Saptarishi, and he is credited with retaining his physical body even to this day. So, masters, great prophets like Lord Krishna and Christ, they come to earth for a specific and a spectacular purpose. So, we know that Lord Krishna, he incarnated in the physical form to deliver the message to the world of the sacred Bhagavad Gita, to kill Kamsa, to fight against adharma, and Lord Christ also came for a spectacular purpose, which was to allow humanity to see the power of God in a more tangible form. So Lord Christ, he arose this belief in God in the Western people. And avatars like Babaji, they are more concerned with the more slow evolutionary progress of mankind. So it is not that Babaji has come to earth for one particular event or one particular purpose. No, Babaji has been given this task of being in his physical form for millenniums. He has been given this physical form to be in this Kal Yuga so that he can work on the slow evolutionary progress of mankind. And obviously, when the work involves evolution of mankind, this is a slow process which takes a lot of time. And masters, it is said that Babaji and Christ, they always work together in communion. That is, they are working together for the redemption of this age of Kali Yuga, this age of, which is also called as the Dark Age. And, they work together to inspire nations to forsake wars, to forsake hatredness, to forsake sectarianism, which is excessive attachment to a particular sect or religion. And Master Mahavatar Babaji, he, he works with the notion of selfless service and humility. And he doesn't work for any name, fame. He hasn't even appeared publicly at any time. And we got to know about the presence of Mahavatar Babaji only from the year 1946 when details about him were written by Yogananda in his book. But Babaji has been here since millenniums and we had no idea about his existence. So Babaji, he works in obscurity, he works in oblivion, and he doesn't want to know people about his presence. It is just that only very few people have got this rare opportunity to be in the presence of Babaji. So Babaji, he just silently works and he just focuses on his work. And there are not many we do not have any details about the birthplace of Babaji, about his family life, about what happened in his life that he became such a great, revered, and enlightened saint. But there is a book which was written by Marshal Govindan, where he stated that Babaji, he came in person to Marshal Govindan and he personally gave in the details about his family, about his early life, and other details. So I just thought that if any one of you would be interested in getting that information, so you could read this book by Marshal Govindan, which is Babaji and the 18th Siddha Yoga. And our masters, Mahavatar Babaji is said to have retained his physical form since millenniums. Babaji's age is said to be more than 3,000 years. But the deathless Guru, he bears no marks of age on his body. Rather, he appears to be a youth of not more than 25 years. And he's fair skinned, of medium build and height. Babaji's strong, beautiful body, it radiates a perceptible glow. And his eyes are dark, calm, and tender, and he has got long, lustrous hair which is copper colored. And Babaji's face is sometimes said to have a very close resemblance to Lahiri Mahasya. So, sometimes it was said that while Lahiri Mahasya, he was in his youth, when he was young, then he had a very striking resemblance to that of Mahavatar Babaji. And when Lahiri Mahasya ji grew old, then he was thought to be the father of Mahavatar Babaji. Although Babaji is more than 3,000 years older, but since they both have such a striking resemblance to each other, so they always are thought that either Mahavatar Babaji is Lahiri Mahasya ji or Lahiri Mahasya ji is the father of Mahavatar Babaji. So, Masters, Mahavatar Babaji, he gave the Kriya Yoga initiation to Lahiri Mahasya. And we know what is Kriya Yoga. It is a technique of spiritual liberation. And while Mahavatar Babaji, he was giving the Kriya Yoga initiation to Lahiri Mahasya, he said to Lahiri Mahasya that the Kriya Yoga that I am giving to the world through you in this 19th century is a revival of the same science which Lord Krishna gave millenniums ago to Arjun. So it is not that Kriya Yoga has been existing only since few years. Kriya Yoga has been existing since millennium, since the time of Lord Krishna. But then this technique, it got lost in the dark ages. It got lost in the Kali Yoga. And this technique, it was again revived in the 19th century when Babaji, he initiated Lahiri Mahasya into the Kriya Yoga. And then this technique of Kriya Yoga, it was later known to Jesus Christ, Patanjali, St. Paul, St. John, and other disciples as well. And while Mahavatar Babaji, he was giving the Kriya Yoga initiation to Lahiri Mahasya, so Babaji told Lahiri Mahasya to go back to the world and perform his worldly duties as an ideal householder, thus teaching the world that liberation is no longer meant only for ascetics and that worldly people could attain self-realization without abandoning their duties. So this message of Mahavatar Babaji is full of hope for people like us. So this message is saying that the worldly people, they don't need to forsake their duties, their responsibilities. They can very well carry on their responsibilities and duties and still attain liberation, still attain moksha. So, when any saint we have, so that saint, he teaches a very peculiar thing to the entire humanity. And we know that the life of Lahiri Mahasya taught exactly this, The life of Lahiri Mahasaya taught us that it is possible to attain spiritual liberation. It is possible to attain enlightenment while carrying your household responsibilities, while carrying your duties. And then we know that through Mahavatar Babaji, the Kriya Yoga was passed to Lahiri Mahasaya Ji. From Lahiri Mahasaya Ji, it was passed on to Swami Sri Yukteswar Ji, and finally to Paramahansa Yogananda Ji. And Paramahansa Yogananda Ji, he then established many self-realization fellowship institutions in the West, and now they are across the world. And people, hundreds and thousands of people, they have learned Kriya Yoga, they have become Kriya practitioners by following this technique. So masters, now going forward with the book, it's time for us to learn very interesting things about the life of Mahavatar Babaji. And we will learn about his life through Swami Kebalananda. And we have learned in the previous sessions that Swami Kebalananda was Yogananda Ji's beloved Sanskrit tutor. So he used to regularly come at Yogananda's place to give him Sanskrit lessons. And Swami Kebalananda, he was also a disciple of Lahiri Mahasaya. So we know that while he used to teach Sanskrit to Yogananda, he also used to tell about the life of Lahiri Mahasaya to Yogananda. So Master Swami Kebalananda had spent some time with the great Guru Mahavatar Babaji in the Himalayas. And Swami Kebalananda, he told to Yogananda that Mahavatar Babaji, he has a small group, a small band of disciples in the Himalayas, and this band of disciples, it does not only has Indian saints and sages, it also has two very advanced American disciples. And this band, it moves from one mountain to the other mountain, and when they have stayed at a particular place in the mountain for some time, then Babaji, he usually says the words that Dera Danda Uthao. So these are the exact words said by Babaji, Dera Danda Uthao, which means let us lift our camp and staff. So, Swami Kebalananda ji, he told that mostly Babaji and his disciples, they used to astrally travel from one mountain to the other mountain, but sometimes it also used to happen that they used to also travel by foot from one mountain to the other. And Swami Kebalananda ji, he then narrated a few experiences that he had with Babaji. So the first incident that Swami Kebalananda ji narrated was very profound. It was very sacred. So he said that one night there were few disciples of Babaji, and they were sitting with Babaji and were performing a sacred fire ceremony. So masters, this picture is only for representation purpose. This is not the exact picture. So, Babaji was there, and Lahiri Mahasaya Ji was there, and Swami Kebalananda Ji was there, and other disciples were there, and they were performing the sacred fire ceremony. And then what happened then was that while they were performing this sacred ritual, all of a sudden, Babaji, he took a burning fire log and he stuck at the bare shoulder of one of the disciples that was sitting there. And Lahiri Mahasaya Ji was also there, and he was surprised and shocked and asked Babaji that how cruel this is, that how can you just stuck a burning log of wood and stuck at the shoulder, at the bare shoulder of the disciple. And then Babaji explained that according to his past karma, this disciple was supposed to be burnt into ashes. But his slight suffering by fire, it has satisfied the karmic law, and Babaji, he then placed his healing hand on the disfigured shoulder of that disciple, and instantly the shoulder of that disciple, it got healed. And the second incident that Swami Kebalananda narrated to Yogananda was that once a stranger approached to Babaji on that mountain cliff, and that stranger, he had been searching since a very long time for Babaji. And at last he had found Babaji, and obviously he was very happy that, he has found Mahavatar Babaji. And then he requested Babaji to accept him as a disciple. And he further said that if Babaji, he cannot accept him as a disciple, then he would jump off the mountain cliff, as life holds no value for him if he cannot seek the guidance of Mahavatar Babaji. And Babaji said to him unemotionally that, okay, you jump then. And that stranger, he, without thinking anything, he just followed the words of Mahavatar Babaji, which was to jump off the mountain cliff. And exactly he did that. He instantly jumped off the mountain cliff. And all the disciples who were present there, they were literally shocked. And then Babaji, he instructed his shocked disciples to get the dead body of that man. And when Babaji, he placed his hand on the stranger's dead body, then the dead man, he opened his eyes, and with joy in his heart, he prostrated at the feet of Babaji. And then Babaji said to him lovingly that I accept you as my disciple, as you have courageously passed a very difficult test. So, Master, these two incidents which were narrated by Swami Kebalananda ji, they're so heart-touching and they are so profound, and they give us valuable insights. They clearly show us that each one of us has to pay back our karma. There's no way that we can escape our karma. Whatever past deeds, whatever actions, good, bad, we have done, we have to reap its effect. But practices like meditation, practices like Kriya Yoga, like surrendering to the divine, can greatly help in diminishing the effects of our past bad actions. So, although in the first incident, the disciple had in his past performed actions that in this lifetime he was supposed to be burned to ashes. So, can you imagine what action he might have done in his past lives that in the current lifetime he was supposed to be burned into ashes? But since he had completely surrendered to the divine, so the divine took away the harshness, took away the intensity of the karma, and he just had to suffer slightly. So, Masters, this happens with us as well in meditation, that in meditation, when we experience slight pain and slight body aches, then it is always advised not to open our eyes, not to come out of the meditation. And it is always best to endure that slight pain, to endure that slight suffering, because we do not know that what karma we might be neutralizing and what intensity of karma which we may have to face otherwise, that we are taking it off by just suffering slightly. So if we suffer only the slight pain of body ache in meditation, we might avoid the harshness or a very intense karma which we might have to endure. So, Masters, in the second incident, Babaji, he accepted that stranger as his disciple only when that disciple, he was ready to let go everything. And here everything literally means everything. It means letting go of any kind of attachment and this means attachment also to his own body, to his own life. And when that stranger, he let go of that attachment as well, then that was the time when he was completely free. And that was the time when Babaji accepted him as his disciple, because that was the perfect time for him to merge into the divine consciousness. So, masters, we often complain that in spite of our unwavering faith, in spite of our meditations, in spite of our prayers, we are not experiencing the divine. But these incidents, they give us hope. They give us this positive message to us that don't lose patience, don't lose your heart, for the divine is watching every thought of ours, and he's just waiting for us to let go of that little desire, to let go of that little attachment we may be having. And the moment we drop them off, we will experience his living presence. So, masters, these were two beautiful incidents which were narrated by Swami Kevalanandaji. And now let's go forward with the book, and we will hear some more incidents, this time through Ram Gopal Mazumdar. And we have learnt about Ram Gopal Mazumdar, who was also called as the sleepless saint. So once again, I will share my slides with you. Yes, so masters, Ram Gopal Mazumdar, we know that he used to meditate in the inaccessible caves of Bengal, and he meditated for more than 25 years. And every single day he used to meditate for 20 hours. So for 25 years, he meditated for 20 hours every single day. And masters, Ram Gopal Mazumdar, we know that he was also a disciple of Lahiri Mahasyaji. And so Ram Gopal Mazumdar, he often used to visit Lahiri Mahasya's place in Banaras. And once when Ram Gopal Mazumdar, he was with Lahiri Mahasyaji in his house in Banaras, then Lahiri Mahasyaji, he asked Ram Gopal Mazumdar that you immediately go to the Dasavamed Ghat. And Ram Gopal Mazumdar, he didn't even question his guru, Lahiri Mahasyaji, that what is the purpose of him sending him to Dasavamed Ghat. But Ram Gopal Mazumdar, he just followed the instruction of his guru and he went to Dasavamed Ghat. And as soon as Ram Gopal Mazumdar, he reached the Dasavamed Ghat, he saw that there was a huge stone slab. There was a huge stone slab and it started to move on its own. And when that stone slab it moved, there was a huge underground cave. And from there arose a young, lovely woman. And this young, lovely woman, she was the sister of Mahavatar Babaji, who is known as Mataji. So Mataji said to Ram Gopal Mazumdar that it is she who had called Ram Gopal Mazumdar, and she had also called Lahiri Mahasyaji and Mahavatar Babaji to discuss a matter of great importance. And now Ram Gopal Mazumdar, he was awestruck. He had not expected this to happen. And, he was still awestruck. And then he saw again something very mystical. He saw that there is some dazzling light which is floating on the Ganges. And this light, it stood near Mataji. And this dazzling light, it transformed itself into a human form, and it took the form of Lahiri Mahasyaji. So now Lahiri Mahasyaji had emerged from a dazzling light, and again Ram Gopal Mazumdar, he was wonder-struck. And then Lahiri Mahasyaji, he bowed at the feet of Mataji, and then what happened next was that before Ram Gopal Mazumdar he could recover from his bewilderment, he saw a circling mass of light in the sky, and that circling mass of light, it descended on the ground and it materialized itself into the body of a beautiful youth. And this beautiful youth was none other than the great Guru Mahavatar Babaji. So, masters, now in the Dasamamed Ghat, there was Mataji, there was Mahavatar Babaji, Lahiri Mahasyaji, and Ram Gopal Mazumdarji. And Mataji, she had called all of them to discuss a matter of great importance. And then what happened was that a conversation started between Mahavatar Babaji and his sister Mataji. So Babaji said to Mataji that, "Blessed sister, I am intending to shed my form and plunge into the divine current." So these are the exact words from the book, and I have quoted the same words. So Babaji is saying to Mataji that, "Blessed sister, I am thinking of relinquishing my form. I am thinking of giving up my physical body." And listening to these words, Mataji replied lovingly that, "I have already glimpsed your plan, beloved master. I wanted to discuss it with you tonight. Why should you leave your body?" So Mataji, she had already got this idea that Babaji is thinking of giving up his physical body, and that is the reason she had called all of them to discuss about this. And so Babaji replied that, "What is the difference if I wear a visible or an invisible wave on the ocean of my spirit?" So Babaji said that, what difference does it make if I take a physical body or not? I'm still present in the form of spirit. And then Mataji replied that, "Deathless Guru, if it makes no difference, then please do not ever relinquish your form." And finally, Babaji, listening to the loving request of his sister, he replied that, "Be it so. I shall never leave my physical body. It will always remain visible to at least a small number of people on this earth. The Lord has spoken his own wish through your lips." So, masters, it was the wish of God that Babaji retains his physical form, and this wish was said through Mataji. And that is how Babaji has retained his physical form for more than 3,000 years. And masters, Mataji, the sister of Babaji, she's also self-realized, enlightened, and spiritually almost as advanced as her brother Mahavatar Babaji. And Mataji is said that she is alive and she remains in ecstasy in a small underground cave near the Dasavamed Ghat. And masters, now the conversation between Babaji and Mataji, it ended there. And then it was time for Ram Gopal Mazumdar to come back to Lahiri Mahasya's place. And now Lahiri Mahasya was already present, and he said to Ram Gopal Mazumdar that he's so happy for him that his wish to meet Babaji, his wish to meet Mataji has finally found fulfillment. And Ram Gopal Mazumdar was also very happy that he got this precious opportunity to meet Babaji and Mataji. And then what happened was that Masters Ram Gopal Mazumdar, to his amazement, he learned from the fellow disciples that were present in the house of Lahiri Mahasya, that since Ram Gopal Mazumdar had left for the Dasavamed Ghat, Lahiri Mahasya had not left his dais. Lahiri Mahasya ji did not leave his place even for a single moment. And all of this time, Lahiri Mahasya ji, he was giving a discourse to the students on immortality. So, while when Lahiri Mahasaya was present with Ram Gopal Mazumdar, with Babaji and Mataji in the Dasavamed Ghat, Lahiri Mahasaya was also present in his own house, giving a discourse to his disciples on immortality. And Ram Gopal Mazumdar, he then said that for the first time, he has now realized the truth that is mentioned in the scriptures, which state that a man of self realization, that a man of God realization can appear in different places in two or more bodies at the same time. So, Masters, when we think about these incredible feats, about these miraculous feats, so, these are incredible because for us, with our limited mindsets, we only think about the limitations of our mind, we only think about the limitations of our body. But once we transcend these limitations, once we realize ourselves, once we realize our unity with the divine, then we realize that everything is attainable, that life then becomes limitless, that life becomes to have infinite possibilities. So, Masters, in this way, we have seen that how Ram Gopal Mazumdar, how Swami Kebalananda, and of course Lahiri Mahasaya ji, they got this opportunity to be in the living presence of Babaji and Masters. We also know that there have been also some more people who got this opportunity, like Sri M. And Sri M, he also wrote a book called as Apprentice to a Himalayan Masters, and he wrote a number of books which in detail, tell about his meeting with Mahavatar Babaji and of course Marshal Govindan as well, which I just mentioned about. And then in the coming sessions, we will also see how Swami Sri Yukteswar ji and how Yogananda ji, they also got this precious opportunity to be in the loving presence of Mahavatar Babaji. So, Masters, it is believed that Mahavatar Babaji, he lives in a cave which is almost an hour drive from Dhunagiri in Kumaun's Almora district in Uttar Pradesh, and hundreds and thousands of people, they visit this cave to offer prayers, to do sadhana, to do meditation, and it was this place where Babaji, he initiated Lahiri Mahasaya ji into the sacred practice of Kriya Yoga. And many celebrities, they've also visited this cave, Jacqueline Fernandez and Rajnikant, to name a few. And Rajnikant, while reading the book Autobiography of a Yogi, he said that while he was reading this book, Babaji's picture, when he saw Babaji's picture in the book, Babaji's picture, it emanated a light spark. And this light spark, it asked Rajnikant to sit in a particular posture. And when Rajnikant did so, then that light spark, it entered his own body. And Rajnikant said that he was so inspired by the life of Mahavatar Babaji that he made a Tamil film called Baba in the year 2002, which was on the life of Mahavatar Babaji. So, Masters, the Westerners also truly revere Mahavatar Babaji, and famous bands like Beatles and George Harrison, they generally used to release their album, and they used to have on their cover picture the picture of Mahavatar Babaji and Yogananda ji and Swami Sri Yukteswar ji and Lahiri Mahasaya ji. So, this shows us that through this book, it has attracted, it has such a tremendous amount of spiritual magnetism that none has been left to be attracted to Yogananda ji and his lineage of gurus. And Masters, Mahavatar Babaji, he has been chosen by God to remain in his body for the duration of this particular world cycle. Ages will come and go, still the deathless Master, beholding the drama of the centuries, shall be present on this stage terrestrial. Babaji is everyone's Guru. As our hearts expand, our communion with Him culminates with the universal vision of love, wherein one witnesses Babaji in everything. So it is not that we cannot experience the presence of Babaji, we just have to expand our hearts, we just have to open our minds and let the love of Babaji come and flow into us. And Masters, I will reiterate the words which have been said by Lahiri Mahasaya Ji, which are that whenever anyone utters with reverence the name of Babaji, that devotee attracts an instant spiritual blessing. So, these words of Mahavatar Babaji, they tell us that Babaji is not too far, but Babaji loves, he resides within everyone's heart. It's just we have to uplift ourselves and open ourselves and feel His presence into our own hearts. And Masters, I will end this session for today by the words of Babaji, which are: start where you are, use what you have, do what you can, which simply mean that this present moment is the best moment, and it is in this present moment that we we can achieve whatever we want. And whatever resources we have at our hands, we have to use them at best. And we have to sincerely practice what we know. When we know meditation, we have to sincerely, with discipline, practice that every day. And we have to, apart from doing meditation, apart from reading spiritual books and teaching meditation to others, we have to, in whatever capacity, what we can do, we must do our part well. So, in this, these words of Babaji, they instill so much, they encourage us so much that start where you are, use what you have, and do what you can. So don't wait for ideal situations or ideal circumstance that when this will happen, then we will do. When that will happen, then we will do. No, whatever our present situation is, whatever our present circumstances, that is the best. And from that situation only we have to start. And only then we will move forward in our journey. Only then we will evolve on this path. So, Masters, that is it for today. And I thank you all for joining in today's session. And I welcome you all to share your experiences, or if any one of you have been to Babaji's cave or had any experience or anything, then you're please most welcome to share. Yes, Niluma.
It looks like we are all under his blessings now. Ruchi. Such a beautiful session. I think today the wisdom is such an amazing thing that we learned quite a lot. So it goes without saying that I felt like there is no need of me sharing anymore or wrapping up. So just wanted to say lots of thanks and lots of gratitude, because it's not only about the book Autobiography of a Yogi. At the same time, you have given us references for some more books. So a lot of thanks for bringing us like all this wisdom and your dedication to share this. So thank you, thank you, thank you so much. And thank you. Thanks for the divinity that is with all of us today. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much, Nilima. And Masters, I would just like to also share that I will not be available for the next couple of weeks. And please use this time as an opportunity to read the book, to reread the book, and reflect on the teachings that we have learned so far, introspect, and try to integrate the teachings in your own lives. So please use this time as an opportunity to integrate the teachings. Yes, so I just wanted to inform you all about this as well.
I think I would like to connect two beautiful sentences with you, because I felt today's two sessions were such a great coincidences, because in the previous session, the conclusion of the session is start with meditation and end with service. And you have said in the end, start where you are, use what you have, and do what you can. So it's a perfect synchronicity that I just wanted to mention that in this session of how we are all guided and how everything is interconnected. Yeah.
Yes, that is so true. That is so true, Niluma. And you bring in so beautiful insights. It's always wonderful to listen to you.
Thank you.
Yes, Sashank, please go ahead. Yes, Shashank, you can unmute yourself.
I think it's my fault. Seshan, now you can unmute yourself here.
Yes, no, thank you. So, hi, Ruchi, amazing wisdom. I couldn't join in the past, but these wonderful sessions. Nevertheless, today's learning about Mahavatar Babaji was a great thing. So many new things I have listened to today. And yeah, as you rightly said, thanks to Rajnikant, um, this concept and yeah, everybody got to know who Mahavatar Babaji was at least a little bit more. And recently, I was gifted this wonderful book, Autobiography of Yogi in India. So very thankful for that. So for me, time for me to reread that. And also, this message I like so much. Like like do whatever. Can you repeat that once again? Like it's so great. Do whatever you can.
Yeah, maybe I can say.
Yes, Nilima, you please go ahead if you want to share that.
Start where you are, use what you have, and do what you can.
Wow. Start where you are. Okay. Thank you so much. This message, I got this in meditation as well. I don't know how, what was the source, but now I can see where the source is. So thank you so much. I think it had 3 or 4 years ago. I got this message: start where you are, do what you can, and it just I just heard it in the meditation. So it's wonderful to hear from Mahavatar Babaji. So thank you so much.
Yes, Shashank, it's another synchronicity that you received this book while we are having this book reading session on this platform. And it is again wonderful to hear that you got this message already in your meditation and you got to hear it today. And yes, that's a very profound words said by Mahavatar Babaji. Shashank, for sharing your wonderful experience.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So much of gratitude to you.
Thank you.
I think sharings are completed. Probably, Ruchi, maybe we can do the meditation. So just before that, masters, whoever are on YouTube, as I said, we request you to join on Zoom so that we'll continue our meditation journey and we'll be stopping the live now. Thank you. Thank you all, especially for the ones on